Welcome to this YouTube only, yes, YouTube only, emphasis on that version of the Half Point Per Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Riggs, joined as always by my co-host, Dalton Willie. No Johnny fan today, and man, we've got quite a bit to get to in a short amount of time. Obviously, we've got the Super Bowl. We've got some prop bets that are going to come along with that Super Bowl that we're going to at least run through. We'll talk them over. There's a ton, as always, but Dalton, my first prop bet of the day is over under Tuesday of next week. Johnny has internet access.
I think it's pretty clear to me, at least. It's going to be an over, the way things are looking here.
So Johnny just moved into a new house. For those of you who listen to this but don't know, moved into a new house last weekend. I guess it's been 4 or 5 days. Same town and everything. And he had no internet. Was thinking it was going to be on sometime this week. Still has no internet. It's now been pushed back to next week. So, we've got a top 12 podcast planned for next week. I'm not totally sure Giants going to have internet by then. I'm going to take the over as well, but that we might have to actually edit the podcast ourselves next week.
It just whoa. You could edit offline. He can go to a library and download this file and take care of that. That's true. Come on now. He has a job here.
He has a hotspot, so that's true. You know what? Yeah, I take it back. Johnny should be editing next week no matter what. And especially because he never made his Super Bowl pick. We gave him a chance. You know, the records are all pretty close right now. If you're looking at straight up, especially, it's 8-4 for me, 9-3 for you two. But Johnny's forfeiting that chance to win these straight up picks. Unless Johnny, if you're watching, unless you get in the comments right now, that's about your only shot. But otherwise, it's either going to be Dalton winning or Dalton and I tying.
I mean, it feels more right that you and I are the ones to win this. Let's just be honest here. Can't let the editor take away the two co-hosts here.
That's true. That's fair enough. All right. Let's jump into the Super Bowl, which maybe it's just because the Chiefs aren't in this game. We were talking about before. It's like it doesn't feel like an incredible amount of buzz for what I actually will think will be a pretty good game, but it doesn't feel like we're halfway through media week, and I'm not really feeling that Super Bowl buzz yet. I'm like half in off-season mode. You're full in off-season mode, spotting the Christian McCaffrey underwater workout social media post right before we jumped on here. But nonetheless, we've got a Super Bowl. We've got another team hosting a Super Bowl in its home stadium, with the Rams hosting the Bengals. It is Rams -4 in this game. But before we make picks, let's actually just run through some props. We can save the picks. Let's run through some props. We'll talk about maybe a couple things with this game, and we'll go from there. One that actually is interesting to me, and I'm gonna have to. This is one of the last prop bets. So this depends on who your winner is, but even if your winner is not the Bengals, it's not a bad hedge. Plus 1,000, Evan McPherson to kick game-winning walk-off field goal at the end of regulation. I'm just saying, that's how the Bengals have rolled through a lot of these playoffs.
Well, the way the playoffs have went in general, that seems really right. That feels like they're kind of betting it down even. I feel like it should be a little higher, plus 1,000 only.
I feel like we should have known that. I mean, I really can't remember the props from year to year, but I don't feel like I've ever seen a prop for at least on a mainstream fan site like FanDuel, maybe on a random site that has all of the props national anthem length and stuff like that. I mean, there's literally everything you can bet on. But a site like this, I don't recall seeing a kicker game winner at the buzzer. Literally, it has to be at the buzzer. It has to be a walk-off field goal. I've never seen that prop before, but we really should have known when it turned out that Evan McPherson was actually a cold-blooded killer kicker
and maybe the best player on the Bengals,
and told Joe Burrow that we're going to the AFC Championship before he even got a chance to kick the field goal. That's a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant type of story. And it's Evan McPherson. No offense to Evans anywhere, of course, but Plus 1,000. I don't. It's even if you're betting the Rams to win this game, like that's a hedge. Like
it's a really good hedge.
Little $10 bet if the Bengals win at the end.
God, I can't believe that's on there. No Matt Gay hedge.
No, I'm not seeing a Matt Gay. There are some other exciting kicking props if you want to go over those though. You can have Matt Gay to have 8+ total kicking points and Matthew Stafford to have 10+ rushing yards. It's plus 300.
I don't think I'm taking the Matthew Stafford over on that one.
There's one with Joe Burrow too. That's plus 250. It's the same for McPherson. 8+ total kicking points and Burrow to have 15 or more rushing yards.
I don't like that one either.
Okay, so I'll go clear back to the top. This one's plus 100, and it's plus 100 for a reason. Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp to combine for 200+ receiving yards. I feel like
that's just easy. Cooper Kupp could get that on his own.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chase could too. It's less likely because he's going to get the Jalen Ramsey treatment for much of this game, you would imagine. But yeah, even if Kupp has like $125, like you've got to think Chase. Chase is good for one big play every game. It feels like.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty easy money if you're betting.
And then it's weird because that one's plus 100, and I was like, okay, yeah, that feels pretty automatic to me, right? But then the next couple, I don't like either. Or I guess the next one is either Jamar Chase or Cooper Kupp to score 2+ touchdowns, which I'm probably staying away from that just because we all know touchdowns are it's a lot less predictable than overall yards in any given game for a guy. But like either Joe Mixon or Cam Akers to have 100+ rushing yards, I'd actually be more surprised if one of those guys did get 100 rushing yards. Akers, just because they have not been able to run the ball effectively at all in the playoffs, and then Mixon because the other side of the ball on the defensive line. That is the reason right there. But that one's plus 150. Like that, it feels like a no-brainer, no shot. But it's plus 150. It feels like a trap. It feels like it's going to happen now.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't like those. I don't like those at all.
So either Joe Burrow or Matthew Stafford that have 350+ passing yards, which is a lot of passing yards, is plus 175. And then Joe Mixon or Cam Akers to combine. Joe Mixon and Cam Akers to combine for 150+ yards rushing is 175. So it's weird that one, they seem to combine for 150 is plus 175. But for one of them I'd have to look. I don't know what the actual underdog prop is for yards. But they have to be expecting one of those get Mixon's prop has to be a lot higher than Akers for that line to make any sense to me.
Yeah, I feel like just the Akers has an uphill battle. Although I do know the Bengals have a pretty stout run defense. It's their pass defense that's supposed to be an issue, even though it hasn't been much of an issue in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. So honestly, a lot of these are projecting big numbers for guys. And I'm just not what do you think this game? Just don't even give me who wins yet. Just give me a final score. What's your final score for this game?
19-16.
Yeah, that's a weird score. I don't know if I go night, but 23-20, 23-17. I don't think this is going to be a super high scoring game. And yet a lot of these, Joe Mixon or Cam Akers, 2+ touchdowns, either quarterback to have 4+ touchdowns. I feel best about all of the kicking props. The first one I mentioned because it's plus 1,000, so why not? Then the other two, it's all Joe Burrow has to do is make it out of the pocket one time, maybe twice, which he's going to have to get that. And the Bengals kick a ton of field goals because the offensive line can't hold up, and that's a bigger issue in the red zone because there's less room to operate, and the lanes get smaller and smaller down there. You need the offensive line to hold up, and that obviously has not happened all year. And the Bengals have kicked a ton of field goals in the playoffs, in particular.
Yeah, both these teams have just this incessant need to run the ball in the playoffs, even when they almost gave the game back to the Bucs. The Rams did by just running the ball too frequently. And I know that
they're running back, hanging onto the ball not frequently enough.
Yeah. Well, and Cam Akers is averaging 2.8 yards a carry in the playoffs. It's not good. And the Bengals, too, they're their play calling, and I was tweeting this out live during the Chiefs game, and I understand the Chiefs lost, but this is not a bitter Chiefs fan here. Mm-hmm. Their play calling in the playoffs has been like pretty suspect, even in the Titans game.
And it was bad against the Chiefs too. Yeah. It was a lot of first down runs. They were putting themselves in second and third and longs. Burrow made 2 great plays on rushes to escape sacks and convert, but like they could definitely do more to put that offense in better positions. And you don't want to be in obvious passing situations when the defensive line knows you're passing against that offensive line. It worked out against the Chiefs. The Rams defensive line is a whole nother beast, though.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, even in the Titans game, they were running deep outs on 2nd and 10. Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously that cost a lot of sacks in that game. They still won the game there, but I do not think this is going to be a great offensive showdown. I think people will look back on this year in the playoffs and probably say the Bills-Chiefs game was the playoff game, and that this this game is not going to be memorable.
This game could be pretty good, and the Bills-Chiefs game is probably still the game of the playoffs. It's one of the best games I've ever seen. So we're talking about the defensive line. This might be my actual favorite prop bet right here. Plus 500, so you're getting good value. Trey Hendrickson, Von Miller, and Aaron Donald to all have at least 1 sack.
I all have to do that one.
But I like that one a lot, and you're getting good value, like I said, at plus 500. And
does it have to be a sack, or does half a sack count?
It has to be 1 plus sack.
Okay, so two half sacks would count.
Yes, it could be 2 half sacks technically. But there's that one, and then the rest of them, it really depends on like which way you lean. Like I actually don't hate Burrow 3+ touchdowns and Mixon 75+ yards rushing. If you think the Bengals are going to win, like Mixon is probably going to have to find a way to get some kind of work done on the ground. And Burrow, 3+ touchdowns like that, even if it's not a high scoring game, like a 24-21 game, he could easily throw 3+ touchdowns. And then on the other side, I like this one a little bit more because they go hand in hand. Is Stafford 3+ touchdowns and Odell Beckham Jr. 75 receiving yards plus 600. I'm pretty in on that one as well.
That's a really good one. I like that one.
Okay, I'm looking through some of these. There is the any non-quarterback to throw a touchdown pass at plus 1,400. Offensive lineman to catch a touchdown plus 2,000. If either of those interest you.
No, the only player we have a hope of throwing a touchdown is Odell. I don't know if that one's happening.
Okay, so there was one more. I feel like there's so many props. We're definitely not going to get to all of these. Well, here's a couple. Since we're talking about rushing, you can get like plus 135 that the Bengals won't rush for a touchdown. Joe Mixon, I think, only has 1 rushing touchdown in these playoffs. So I don't hate that one either because, like I said, red zone touchdowns have not been easy to come by for the Bengals in this postseason. So I think that one.
I like that one. I would probably bet against Joe Mixon having a rushing touchdown. Mm-hmm. I would probably bet against either of these running backs having a rushing touchdown if that was a parlay.
Yeah, it's you could maybe like parlay both of those. Man, I know there was one more I wanted to get to, but I can't find it. But okay, let's jump into actual picks and talking about this game a little bit because we've got Super Bowl MVP and you can pick the final score, your final score at like crazy odds too. So if we had a producer, we could definitely be keeping track of this much easier, but we do not. So Dalton, give me like 1 or 2 things you're looking for in this game, and I'll give you a couple right back. And then we can even do like a 1, 2, 3, say the winner, because I know I have a vested interest in picking against you.
So we can tie.
So we'll be totally fair in how we're doing these picks.
So the one thing I'm watching for, this was a fun stat from offensive line guru Braden Thorne. The Bengals were the quickest team to allow pressure in the NFL. They were 32nd. The Rams defensive line is the fastest to pressure in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, first 32nd, very interesting. There's just going to have to be some really smart concepts run by the Bengals, which I'm going to watch early on. First down runs and what we've seen in the playoffs, and then long second and third downs are going to make this a very difficult game for the Bengals.
I think they have to find ways to get Jamar Chase the ball quickly, right? Like you would think they would have you're emptying the clip on ways you can find Jamar Chase with the ball in his hand like in 1.5 seconds. You gotta be doing that.
And then on the other side of the ball, the Bengals run a lot of single high safety. They're one of the few teams in the NFL still do it, and that's because Jesse Bates he's just incredible safety.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I was looking at it, and 2 of the 4 turnovers that the Bengals have forced this offseason, PFF rated both those throws as non-turnover worthy. So they've gotten a little bit of luck in the turnover game. One of them was obviously the Patrick Mahomes overtime pick. That was considered a non-turnover worthy play. So I want to see how they handle that, because Stafford is prone to bad reads, but single high is generally considered a lot easier to get some of those deep targets down. And Van Jefferson is a guy that I kind of want to watch for in this game. He's had 4+ deep targets over the last 2 games in the playoffs. He could really break one off here. And against single high, they're probably bracketing Cooper Kupp. So I'm just really interested there. I think either Van or Odell have some really good deep shot opportunities, and that could break the game open for the Rams.
Mm-hmm. So obviously you mentioned the pressures, and that's the main thing you've got to watch when the Bengals have the ball is specifically what do they do with Aaron Donald? Like we saw it both times they played the Chiefs. They struggled to block Chris Jones. It's just the second time he wasn't able to put away the sacks when he actually got back there. And the Chiefs defensive line, just like I said, is not near the line that the Rams is. Like Von Miller is like looking like Von Miller in these playoffs. Like it's
Super Bowl MVP, Von Miller. Let's not forget. He has one of those already.
And then you have Aaron Donald, who is 1, 2, 3, the 4th best odds to win Super Bowl MVP in this game for a reason. So that's number one. And like I kind of mentioned with Chase, I'm just really interested in how they scheme up ways to get him the ball quickly, not only to counteract that pressure, but you're going to have Ramsey on him. You can't let this game turn into I guess T. Higgins and Joe Mixon have to go win us this game. Like those guys are very good players. But what gives this offense that potential like special dimension on any given play is what Jamar Chase can bring. And a lot of that has been on deep passes. But at the same time, we've seen the guy catch bubble screens, slants, and take it 80 yards as well. So I'm just really curious in how they scheme up ways to get him the ball and whether or not they keep trying to force feed him. Obviously, you don't want to turn the ball over, force the ball in like when it's not there, but don't shy away from calling plays for him, even like down the field stuff if you can block it.
So I'm curious because we've both disparaged the play calling of both sides of both teams.
Yep.
Which team do you trust more as a head coach to make the play calling, Sean McVay or Zach Taylor?
It's easily Sean McVay. I think when it comes to McVay, and I have a pretty good friend who's a Rams fan, so this is a Rams fan perspective here. He says, I think his exact words were, McVay's great at everything except timeouts.
I was going to say McVay reminds me of Andy Reid in a lot of ways. The clock management is very frustrating. So that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, so I trust McVay more in every other area except timeouts. I think Zach Taylor wins that probably by default if we're being honest, because I don't know. I've never really seen Taylor bungle a timeout situation. I can't not one comes to mind. And McVay, it happens quite frequently with him. So I don't know. If we're in a close game, I guess we'll see that. It feels like we have bad coaching moments in all of these big games. So maybe it really will come down to which of these coaches is just not going to mess it up for his team. But I also think I give McVay the edge and just win, flat out winning the game for his team with good game planning, with good play calling, with that type of stuff.
Yeah, he's not coaching against Belichick this time in the Super Bowl, which is good for him.
Okay, so we're at 20 minutes. Dalton, on the count of 3, let's go straight up first, and then we'll go against the spread. Straight up, who is your pick to win this game? 3, 2, 1, Rams.
Rams. Okay.
All right. Now Rams -4. What is your pick? 3, 2, 1, Rams.
Oh
Okay.
no.
So we're not
Oh.
we're not getting that. Probably means the Bengals are going to win this game.
Oh God.
Uh,
I'm going to go ahead and say this on record while you type this out. I just don't believe the Bengals were the best team in the AFC. I don't think they were the third best team in the AFC. I think they got here on a lot of luck, and I mean that's part of the NFL, it's part of playoff football.
You definitely have to give them credit for the Chiefs game. Like, even though we can lament all the things the Chiefs did wrong, didn't do, should have done, whatever the case may be, like, it took a lot of mental toughness to come back in that game, to stay in that game. That's just, you got to give them props for that, for sure. But I think, and we talked about this, with average quarterback play, the Raiders or the Titans could have easily beat them. And then Mahomes went from like looking like one of the best quarterbacks of all time to straight up bad.
Well, I was going to say in that second half with average quarterback play, Kansas City should have won. No, but and that's what I mean. Credit to the Bengals defense; it's played very well. But in both the Titans and the Chiefs game, I think a lot of people looking at those games can say it looks like the teams that lost it for themselves, and the Bengals didn't. I think the Rams have had at least more definitive playoff performances. The first 3 quarters against the Bucs was a very good performance, and the Niners are just a well-built team. So to come out with a win there is just as difficult. So I mean, credit to where the Bengals
and the Cardinals are dysfunctional, but the Rams did what they were supposed to do in that Cardinals game.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the Cardinals at one point were the only undefeated team in the NFL. Yeah. I just think the Rams have it. I mean, home field doesn't matter here because the Rams don't have home field because Los Angeles is a horrible sports town.
But they don't have home field, but they have home beds. Does that matter? Like, it maybe matters like a little bit, like just a teeny bit.
Yeah, I guess the home beds do matter. And I don't know what the medium income in is Ohio, but I think it's about the price of a Super Bowl ticket. So I don't know how many Bengals fans are going to make it.
It's very possible. Although if Twitter and other social media is any indication, there might be some Bengals fans who are like emptying out their 401ks to get to this game. It would not be a shock.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, like we said earlier, this is probably one of the Super Bowls I've been least excited about in my lifetime. Storylines aren't really there. I've been pretty vocal about my feelings on Matt Stafford, and this Bengals team just doesn't really have like the Jamar Chase is fun, and that's about it for me. Joe Burrow's been kind of fun.
All of the weapons are fun. The offense is fun, but like they're fun, but they have games where they're very explosive and games where it's just like, oh man, like this offense is just very underwhelming this week. And a lot of that is probably the offensive line's doing.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and we've talked about this, I think we both don't like Zach Taylor as a coach. I think he has some major flaws, and part of
I think this team has won in spite of him a lot this year. At least in the playoffs, and I would imagine throughout the season as well. I didn't watch him as closely, obviously, all year, but
no, I would agree. I think Sean McVay is far more superior. I hope he gets it here. I think he deserves it. I will be cheering for the Rams, which is hard because I usually cheer for the AFC, but I just can't come around to the Bengals here. Well, and those stupid sunglasses all those fans wear that Joe Burrow wears, I hate those.
As a Tom Brady hater my whole life, I've cheered for the AFC very few times in the Super Bowl, so I've got no problem going the other way. Okay, so we've both got the Rams. We've both got them by 4+. I'm going to say the final to this game is 27. You know what? No, McPherson's got to get a field goal. I'm going to say it's 27-20 with 2 field goals from McPherson, 2 touchdowns. And let me hunt for that score while you give me yours.
So I know earlier I said 1916 doesn't match my my picks. I think I'm going to change it to 24-13. I think that this game is largely out of play for the Bengals. This defensive line is going to dominate. I don't know if we're picking Super Bowl MVPs, but my pick is Aaron Donald.
Oh, yeah. Let's pick Super Bowl MVPs. Let's do it because Aaron Donald, and I'm writing this down top of our Google Doc right now. Dalton, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is plus 1,500.
Yeah, I think Aaron Donald's the guy that wins Super Bowl MVP. I think Matt Stafford has an all right performance, like 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I think Aaron Donald sacks, 4 or 5 times on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had in the Kansas City game alone a lot of very lucky moments. He escaped pressure, but a couple of times he should have been sacked. And if it was Aaron Donald bearing down on him and not someone like Frank Clark, he gets sacked there. And I just don't. I don't know how they block Aaron Donald. He's going to be a major force disruptor, and I think the coverages that the Rams put up there are going to make it hard enough for Joe Burrow to get quick looks. And like we've talked about, the play calling on this team is going to put them in a lot of second and third and longs. And I think in his first Super Bowl, Joe Burrow is going to be looking to make those big plays, and that's just going to leave a lot of openings. So Aaron Donald's my Super Bowl MVP. Final score 24-13. I think they get a late touchdown in the fourth quarter and they get 2 field goals. So
I'm gonna have to find. I swear to God, FanDuel is so confusing. I can't find but we'll do it. I'll do it off air and get the odds. So just to see like if either of us would have actually put down $5 on the final score and
what would we make?
What we would have actually made to make ourselves sick if we're correct. So I'm gonna go with. I think Cooper Kupp. I think I'm going back to find it. He's plus 550. Like
he is higher odds than Donald.
Yeah, he quite a bit. Donald might be the better value. I think if I were making a bet, I would bet Donald. But if I'm just making a pick on who I think is the most likely, like Stafford's plus 125, and I know it goes to the quarterback a lot, but you just gotta think if Stafford has a big game, Kupp has a big game, and Kupp has just been such a star all year that if he goes 150, 125 and multiple touchdowns, like I think it's I don't want to make it seem like he wouldn't deserve it because he would, but would almost be like a little bit of a legacy award for the season. Like, yeah, this guy's been their best player on offense all year. Stafford's been good, great at times, shaky at times, but overall good. But it's been this receiver who has really been the constant for this offense all year. And if he's great in the game, I think Kupp is going to have a strong narrative pull, which definitely matters in things like this. And since neither of us are picking a quarterback, you can bet in the other position plus 230. So I think
I like those odds.
We would both take any other position plus 250, plus 230. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of. I mean, Von Miller could even win it if he has a really good game. I think if the Bengals do win, Joe Burrow is Super Bowl MVP, unless Jamar Chase has an absolute 300-yard game, which I don't think he's going to have.
But you'll be a little surprised at what Chase's odds are. I think this partially reflects the Rams being pretty heavily favored. 3 of the top 4 Rams guys, it's Stafford, Burrow, Kupp, and Donald. Jamar Chase is plus 2,500 to be Super Bowl MVP.
Wow. I mean, if you think
if you're backing the Bengals,
yeah, I think I'd throw some money on it if you're backing the Bengals because he's going to be the guy that needs to do it.
Mm-hmm. So we've both got Rams. We've both got Rams by more than 4. Dalton's got them 24-13. I've got them 27-21. I will look up the odds for that after we get off and get that figured out. But Dalton, real quick, last thing before we get out of here, we've got to make a Gatorade color prediction, right? I've got them right here. Got all the odds. I'll just read you the colors without telling you the odds, and let's just see where you land. Blue, orange, clear / water. So if it's water, this would be where this would fall. Yellow / green / lime. So you're getting some value there. Basically 3 colors. Got to take that under consideration. Red / pink and purple.
So I was going to go yellow before you read off the list, but now there's value in that, so I'm taking yellow.
So yellow's plus 390, which is a little surprisingly not the. I would have thought that since there's so many colors, it would have been lower.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's only it's like right in the middle. I would have thought like red / pink is plus 960, purple plus 1180.
Wow. See, the only reason I'm doing yellow is I think the Rams win, and I think they might have some colors there for the Rams being yellow. That's really the only reason I'm making that bet.
All right, so Dalton, yellow. So I'm literally Googling right now. So last year the Bucks was blue Gatorade. I see a picture of it right now when I Google it. You Google Rams Gatorade color and you get an article about it. I wonder if it has like previous years. Their odds are slightly different. No Gatorade is plus 350. So if they dump like a thing of confetti,
wow.
But that was a little surprised that's so high. Orange is plus 200 on DraftKings. That's interesting. I was hoping they'd have like previous years. I want to see. They probably dumped Gatorade on McVay when they won the NFC title, right?
I mean, you'd think.
Oh, interesting. So here, Dalton, this helps you out here. I'm reading a Yahoo article that is talking about Gatorade color and which color they like for the Rams. And apparently Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, drinks yellow Gatorade. Could be a little ode to Robert Woods.
Ooh, I was going to say, so the Bucks were blue. We were orange. Kansas City was orange. Patriots were blue. Eagles were yellow. So we've had yellow the last 4 years.
So we've never had purple, at least not like recently. So apparently Gatorade released a short film profiling Robert Woods a month ago. At the 4-second mark, there's a shot of Robert Woods driving with a bottle of orange flavor Gatorade in his car's cup holder.
Do you want to guess the last team to go purple? I have it up here.
Really? Yeah. Oh gosh.
It was an NFC team. I'll give you that. So it's
the Seahawks?
No, it was the Giants in Super Bowl 46.
The who? You froze off for me for just a second.
The Giants.
The Giants. Wow.
Yeah. From Super Bowl 38 to Super Bowl 42, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, it was clear. Kind of crazy.
So I'm reading this paragraph further, and later in the video, when he's doing a workout, he takes a break for a sip of yellow Gatorade.
Mm-hmm. See, there it is.
And so the orange, that's the prop, he never drank. The yellow later on, he did drink. So it would make you think yellow Gatorade in the facility. I like it, plus 390. I was leaning blue, plus 310, but
you talked yourself into yellow.
I talked myself into yellow, or like we've got value. We've got multiple colors there.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, what were those other colors? Lime green.
I think let me pull it back up. It was lime and green. Yeah, like separately. I'm not really sure.
In the last 50 years, neither of those colors have ever been.
We're basically betting on yellow.
You're basically betting on yellow.
I wonder if pink has ever appeared because we get red/pink. Red/pink is in. Maybe they avoid red because but all Gatorade's gonna stain, right?
You don't want red/pink. There's never been red or pink.
Never?
Never. Not since Super Bowl 21. Orange plus Super Bowl 21.
When was the last time the Rams won the Super Bowl?
Let's see here.
Gotta do a deep dive. Rams last Super Bowl. No, I don't want to see the one they lost.
I don't think they've won one in a while, Evan.
Wait, have they ever won the Super Bowl?
I don't think they have because the Greatest Show on Turf didn't win.
I was thinking they had to have just won one.
No, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at a list from 21 to 55.
So we have no precedent to go on.
Yeah, I
was hoping maybe like 40 years ago we have a black and white photo, but we can see in the caption what it is. But okay, I'm going yellow. You're going yellow. Plus 390. I like it. And that's going to do it for us today on that deep dive Gatorade note of the YouTube edition of the Half Point Per Podcast. Give us a follow at Half Point Per Pod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of that stuff. You can find us pretty easily by searching that. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we will be back next week. The plan is a 2022 top 12. We did that last year. It was a lot earlier. I went back and looked. We didn't do as extensive of playoff coverage last year as this year. We'll see if Johnny's back or not, but two of us will be back with the top 12 for next year. And then past that, show plans, not totally sure yet. We'll get that figured out and communicate that as well. But thank you guys so much for listening, hoping for a fun Super Bowl, and we will talk to you all very soon.